All right. Well, look, I wanted to start doing some videos post-November. It's a new year, and just started a new group with Breaking Free, working on Pia Mellody's resource that was the workbook that went with Facing Codependence. And I imagine if Pia Mellody started to write now, she'd use the language that we're using today to describe developmental trauma or complex post-traumatic stress. But last night in the group, I referred to the foreword that was written in this book by Stephen Porges on the Polyvagal theory, which really brought the neuroscience to the impact of trauma and abuse for clients and for therapists. And there's a foreword done by Bessel Van Der Kolk. And, Bessel, most famous at the moment, I suppose, for his own book, The Body Keeps the Score, and there's some fantastic lectures of his online that just, again, tell the story of trauma treatment, because he's of the generation that started as a psychiatrist working with people in ways that were now not seen as best practice, but they were the best we had at the time. And now he's a proponent of EMDR and, the working through the body and the emotions to get to the healing of trauma. But one of the statements in this book that he has, and I'll read it to you now, that I remember going and reading this to a CEO of mine, because I'm a difficult person to be in relationship with. I'm a difficult person to work with for this reason. Clinicians and researchers who deal with people with histories of chronic trauma are routinely confronted with fight, flight, or freeze reactions. Our patients, and occasionally our colleagues, easily take offense, and they often disorganize their and our lives by becoming too angry, fight, too ashamed, flight, or too frozen, that freeze. Minor irritations easily turn into catastrophes. Small failures of communication are difficult to gloss over and easily turn into dramatic interpersonal conflicts. And this bit I love the most. The milk of human kindness, such an essential nutrient of making life bearable, all too often fails to have a significant impact on the despair, rage, and terror of people with histories of trauma and abandonment. So the Breaking Free group and that resource is a book that helps people go back and get their history straight and start to work at that sort of core body level, but still addresses the cognitive distortions, defenses, and toxic levels of feelings that codependents, developmentally traumatized people have to battle with every day. Just that fight to not be too overwhelmed and to stay functioning. And I warned the people last night, because what happens when you start to bring your attention to this stuff, it seems to get worse before it gets better. And Pia puts that in the beginning of her workbook, that as you start to sort of come to terms with the overwhelming devastation of having these sorts of mechanisms inside you that derail your ability to function at just a healthy, practical level. And so if you're in recovery or struggling and are having overreactions, things that you really know are just your reaction to it is just much too big than the event. A saying I like is, if it's hysterical, it's historical. So if you're struggling with that, by all means, pick up a copy of Stephen's book, but the book Breaking Free, and in particular the other book that I work with folks is Pete Walker's Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving. So I'll probably, over the next coming weeks, for the next 3 months probably, I'll give updates on the Breaking Free process and the next one I'll do on the first step. So thanks.
I pray take this pain away. I've prayed